Good afternoon. I want to welcome you to another segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Today is Monday, June the 23rd, 2014. What I want to talk about today is 5 reasons why Carmelo Anthony is not leaving New York. Now, I want all Knicks fans, first of all, to stop hyperventilating. Yes, he opted out, but he opted out today. But all he ended up doing today was what he said he was going to do back in October. But just because a player opts out does not mean they're not going to stay with their team. To be really honest with you, it's not too often that you see a superstar athlete who opts out who ends up changing teams. And the reason is because usually there's a lot of money that's on the table, they just don't want to leave. Because a lot of superstars, even though they may get endorsements, this, that, and the other, they can't make up the kind of losses that they're going to end up taking. Now, before I get started, I want to add a disclaimer. I am not a Knicks fan, so I can speak from objectivity here. I'm a Brooklyn Nets, and I was a fan of the Nets before they moved to Brooklyn, by the way. And I'm also a Los Angeles Lakers fan, so that's just basically the way it is. Now, here are my 5 reasons why Carmelo Anthony is not leaving New York. Reason number 1. According to Tom Penn, he's the cap specialist on ESPN, okay? He worked with if I remember correct, the Portland Trail Blazers and stuff. So he's a capologist, let's put it that way. So that means he looks at all the possible scenarios on how a player could fit underneath a particular team's cap. Well, he said that for Carmelo to go to, because right now the teams that are in discussion are the Bulls, the Rockets, and the Heat. Those are the 3 teams that is really in discussion. The Mavericks is like a distant 4th. Okay? Now, the most likely scenario, if Carmelo, let's say, were to leave, though I don't think he's leaving, but the most likely scenario is Chicago. So let's talk about Chicago, because Tom Penn mentioned about Chicago as the likely destination should Carmelo leave New York, even though don't look for it to happen. He said, and I quote, Carmelo would be leaving $50 million on the table if he goes to Chicago. Now, because why? Chicago cannot pay him the max that he could get even on the open market. Because if he signs with his team, he can get a 5-year, $130 million deal. If he signs with another team, the max he can get is a 4-year, $95 million deal. But Chicago can't even give him the 4 years for $95 million. They would have to give him less to fit him underneath their cap. So Tom was saying that really Carmelo would be leaving $50 million on the table. Now, I'm going to ask Stephen A. Smith or anyone else who's even mentioning Chicago as a strong possibility. What individual you know of is going to leave $50 million on the table? And don't give me, well, Dwight Howard left $30 million, LeBron left $30 million. Let's talk about those 2 situations. Notice that what states that LeBron and Dwight Howard left and what states they went to. LeBron left Cleveland to go to Miami. Dwight Howard left Los Angeles to go to Houston. Now, the last time I checked, Miami's in this state that's called Florida. Florida, what don't they have? Income tax. State income tax, should I say. Okay? So therefore, he saved actually some money by going down to Florida, so he really didn't take a full $30 million hit. That's number 1. Dwight Howard went from Los Angeles to Houston. The last time I checked, I think Houston is in Texas. I could be wrong, but I think Houston is in Texas. Another tax-free state, state tax-free state, state income tax-free state. Okay? So he also saved some money. So they didn't really take $30 million hits. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, okay, if Carmelo went from New York to Chicago, he doesn't get any tax savings. So keep that in mind. He doesn't get any tax savings if he goes from New York to Chicago. The only way he's going to get tax savings if he goes to Miami or Houston. But the problem then, he has to take even less. So he's going to take even a bigger hit. And then they have to do a lot of moves, both teams, Houston as well as Miami would have to do a lot of moves to be able to put Carmelo underneath their cap. And so I don't think Carmelo's going out west. And not only that, if you listen to what Carmelo said on June 3rd, where he gave this interview, he already said he loves the big city, the big lights. He was in Denver. These are not my words, these are his words. It's nice being a little small town, but he missed the action when they were coming to New York and he would be there for 2 days. He loved being in the big city. And when he went back to Denver, because that's the team that he played for, he said he would desire to be back in New York. So don't think he's going to leave a big city to go to a small city like Houston or Miami. Not going to happen. Okay? Here's the second reason that Carmelo is not going to leave New York. Lala Anthony, his famous wife, by the way, stated back on January 25th, 2014, that Carmelo will definitely stay with the Knicks. So Lala basically already has spoke on behalf of the family. Okay? And do not think that the wife don't have a say in these matters. Oh, yes, they do. If Carmelo were to leave, I think he's going to have a very unhappy wife. And the last time I checked, when the woman isn't happy, no one in the house is happy. Even the dog don't want to be near you. Even the goldfish don't want to be swimming, as my cousin Sean would say, when the woman is not happy. So you want to keep your wife happy. Number 3, there's no way in hell Lala will allow him to go to Miami, so you could pretty much kill that rumor. And here's the biggest reason Lala, forget about the money. Let's assume Miami could give him the max, even though they can't. But let's just go on the assumption they can give him the max. Here's why Carmelo will not be stepping foot in Miami to play in Miami. Lala is not going for that, because here's why. As Stephen A. Smith likes to say, it's South Beach. We're talking about some beautiful, beautiful women. Women that will make even Lala Anthony look like a dog. And the last time I checked, Lala is a fine woman. And I can tell you this. There's an old saying, kitty cats compete. And women don't like it when, they're in a town where other women can just blow them away. They always want to be the star of the room. There is no way Lala is allowing that to happen. You can just forget about that, my friends. And not only that, they can't even pay him near the max. They got to pay him like $13 million, and Carmelo's not playing for $13 million. That's just not going to happen. So we can just pretty much take Miami out of the mix. Okay? Now, here's reason number 4 he's not leaving the New York Knicks. If you plan on leaving, folks, you don't take meetings with the new coach of the team that you're leaving. He's already had 1 to 2 meetings with Derek Fisher already. 1 meeting. He's already had about 4 to 5 meetings with Phil Jackson. You don't do that if you're leaving. If you're leaving, you just leave. You don't even take meetings with the team. Because why? There's no need to meet. Here's reason number 5. He can make the most money, and after next year, the team will have plenty of cap space. So, and if you understand Carmelo, if you know Carmelo, Carmelo is about money. Money is important to Carmelo. Trust me when I say that. And Stephen A. should know this. So therefore, those are the 5 reasons. But I'm going to give you even more reason. Okay? Why? And I'm going to give you what Carmelo said out of his own mouth on June 3rd. Okay? And there's already videos posted of him saying this. So this is not something that I'm just reading. I've actually heard him say these exact words. The average person just sees opportunity to say that, oh, Melo should go here, or Melo should go there. I think he should do this. I think he should do that. But they don't take into consideration the family aspect of it, which means what the wife has to say, the wife's feelings, your livelihood, where you're going to be living at. Do you want your kids to grow up in that place, in that city? Do I want to spend the rest of my career in that situation, in that city? So all that stuff comes into play. My son, now this is nothing also that's very important. My son goes to school in New York City. He loves it here. Okay? To take him out and to take him somewhere else, he has to learn that system all over again. He has to get new friends. And I know how hard it was for me when I moved from New York to Baltimore at a young age, having to work your way to try to make friends. As far as this goes, basketball goes, it's hard to just say, okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to do that, because everybody's affected by that. The average person is looking at it as next year, like it's just 1 year. Next year, you win the championship if you go here. We're looking at the big picture here now. You're looking at the next 6 to 8 years of your career, of the end of your career at that. So, do you want to spend that much time in that place? Okay? There's a guy who's talking like that, sounds like a guy who's ready to leave the situation he's in. When I going back to 2011, when I never heard him mention about family and stuff, of how important it is to keep roots and stuff when he was in Denver. When he wanted to come to New York, he didn't mention about, well, his son having to make new friends and all that stuff. He didn't mention about the family, because why? At the end of the day, Lala had a big influence over that. Lala got her shows. Lala got her friends here. Lala is home. Carmelo is home. Carmelo is not leaving New York, folks. Okay? So you Knicks fans can just calm down. He's going to re-sign. And then some people says, well, he could demand a trade, a sign and trade. Let me speak on that. Let's say he demanded, he says, I want to go to Chicago, but I want to get paid max money, my full money. Well, then that means the Knicks would have to do a sign and trade with Chicago. Here's my question to you, if you're the Knicks. Why would you help out Carmelo Anthony and help out the Bulls, one of your rivals, by the way? Why would you do that? In order for you to do a sign and trade, it's got to make sense for you. Why would you do that? Because it wouldn't make any sense for you, the Knicks. Oh, but he could threaten to go to, say, Dallas or go to L.A. if you refuse to do the sign and trade. Is that really a threat? That's not a threat. First of all, he would be out west. So in essence, he would be doing me a favor anyway. Secondly, he said he wanted to win next year. Well, we all know Dallas and L.A., the Lakers, are not winning next year. So you want to go to Dallas or L.A., go ahead. But I'm not going to help you go to my rivals, make them better than make me weaker. I'm not going to do that. Now, if we were talking about Cleveland, Orlando, one of those teams, now I'm having a different view, because why? At least you can give me your number one pick, which will allow me to potentially get a star player in here. But I'm not going to send you to a team where they're in the lower half of the draft like the Bulls are. I'm not sending you to a team like that. There's no benefit for me. So to me, to threaten me to say, oh, I'll go play for the Mavericks or the Lakers, I say, go ahead. I wish you well, because you're not going to win anyway. And there is no way Lala Anthony's going to Dallas. You can forget about that. She's not leaving New York to go to Dallas. So good luck trying to sell that to your wife. So to me, that's not a threat. Come again. So the media, the problem is, folks, the media don't do their homework. It is clear the media don't do their homework. Because, first of all, they're like, oh, Carmelo should go here, Carmelo should go there. In other words, Carmelo should walk away from that money. And I don't care what players say, it is always about the money, folks. Oh, but Dwight Howard, that's a different situation. And how many rings do Dwight Howard have? 0 the last time I checked. Matter of fact, Houston still got bounced in the first round. So imagine if Carmelo went to Chicago. He left $50 million on the table. And he got bounced in the first and second round. You know what people would be saying? You're a fool. The same people who would be applauding the move would turn around and call you a fool. Oh, he can't win. Look, folks, it's real simple. Carmelo's best bet, stay in New York. Stay in New York. That's his best bet. He's not, look, he's got it good here. He's got it good. And so I gave you the 5 reasons why Carmelo is not leaving New York. Just meditate over it, think about it. There are more other reasons, but those are the 5 top reasons, folks. So you could ignore what the media said until Carmelo lets it be known and tells the Knicks, I'm not coming back, assume he's coming back. You see, I remember in 2010 with LeBron James, he made it clear, if you paid attention, that he wasn't coming back to Cleveland. And Dwight Howard made it clear he wasn't coming back to LA because, see, Dwight Howard never wanted no part of LA to begin with. Dwight Howard let it be known when he was in Orlando, he did not want to go to LA. But LA, in their arrogance, said, well, we're LA and nobody turns us down who comes here to play because no one ever has. But Dwight Howard is a different creature, a different beast. Dwight Howard will leave a little money on the table to go be somewhere where he's happy. But you can best believe Dwight Howard didn't leave $30 million on the table. The media is not telling you the truth. If they tell you he left $30 million on the table, he did not. You can best believe that, folks. He didn't leave $30 million on the table. Okay? Dwight Howard isn't no fool. There were a number of reasons why he wanted no part of LA. First of all, remember, he's a small town kid. Atlanta, Orlando type thing. Okay? Now, I know he said he wanted to go to Brooklyn, but I felt that wasn't going to be good for him either because you could tell when I want to opt out, I'm going to opt in, I'm going to opt out. He couldn't make up his mind what he wanted to do. And that's not somebody you want to be building your franchise around, somebody who cannot make up their minds what they want to do. But he let it be known he did not want to go to LA. And then he let it be known he didn't want to play with Kobe. He asked the GM there in LA, do you guys plan on re-signing Kobe? When he said yes, that pretty much killed any idea of him re-signing with the Lakers. Then not only that, he hated D'Antoni's system. Okay? He wanted Phil Jackson. They wasn't going to give him Phil. So Dwight didn't see no reason to stay in LA. Plus, they were an old team, broken down. And here Houston was younger, who could sign him outright. They didn't have to do no signing trades to bring him on. What they have to do now to bring on Carmelo or to bring on LeBron or somebody like that. Now, speaking of LeBron, here is my thinking as to what he's going to do. LeBron, now I'm not so sure about, so I'm just giving you my theory. Because LeBron is the one person who can leave $30 to $50 million on the table, even though he wouldn't do that, but he's the one person who can, because you want to know why? He's making far more money off the court than he is on anyway. And he's LeBron, so he can get away with that. But the average superstar cannot, because they cannot make that money up off the court. Okay? They just cannot. So LeBron, if he opts out, there's going to be suitors for him pushing hard. And why wouldn't they? If I was a team, my focus is not on Carmelo, it's on LeBron. Because why? He's the best player in the world. So if I'm going to be chasing a free agent who may or may not leave, I'm going to go for the best player in the world to somebody who's in the top 10. You know, come on, it's just the reality. So, here's my theory as to what's going to happen. LeBron is going to opt out of his contract in Miami. And I see him, because I don't think him and Carmelo is going to match up. Because then I don't think LeBron's leaving Miami to come to New York. I just don't see that happening. The only place I would have saw that LeBron possibly, if he left, it would be back to Cleveland. But I think once Cleveland made the moves they made, I don't see LeBron going to Cleveland. I could be totally wrong, but I don't see LeBron going to Cleveland. So I think what happens is he opts out and he signs for at least 4 more years in Miami. Okay? I mean, he's got a good situation down there in Miami. Now, they're going to have to do some things, but he's going to sign most likely 4 more years in Miami. That's my theory as to what's going to happen with LeBron. But don't quote me on LeBron, but I can just assure you, Carmelo's not leaving New York. That much I am certain of. I want to thank you for watching another segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Have a good night.